Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by the Pings. It's the Racing Brothers. Yes, yeah. We've had the D Orlandos on before together, but now meet the Pings. Of course, if you've been following this channel, you may remember our interview with Noah a few months ago. He is on the bottom, but to my left is his younger brother Zach. How's it going, guys?
It's good.
It's going good. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Okay, so first, let's go to Noah, and then we'll go to you, Zach. First, remind the audience what you're racing in right now.
Yeah, so I'm racing United States F4 Championship. It's been going good. We're sitting third in the points championship. We just got back from New Jersey about a month and a half ago, where we didn't have the best of weekends, but we're still in the points hunt, which is always good.
And Zach, what are you racing this season?
I'm in the World Racing League with Round 3 Racing in the 701 Porsche Cayman, and I just got back from Virginia yesterday. So we got a second place there on Saturday, and then a win on Sunday, and I think we're leading the points championship in the East. So far so good.
So if my guess is correct, two different disciplines of racing, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Completely different. Sir. Yeah.
So Noah racing open wheel cars.
Yeah.
And Zach sports cars. That's totally two different things, but it's kind of unique a little bit. We know your background a little bit, Noah, but how did you get into racing, Zach?
Yeah, so I kind of went through the same path Noah went through with the Primal Racing School, getting the racing license through the 3-day school, and then raced in Radical Cup, and then tested the F4 car, tested some sports car stuff, and I fell in love with the sports cars. I've always liked sports cars and wanted to be a sports car driver professionally, hopefully, and it kind of we drew up a plan from that, starting in the World Racing League, and from there on, it's kind of just following in the footsteps.
Yeah, and of course, remind everybody how you got it. I mean, obviously, from the story, of course, from playing hockey all the way, and now you're racing in F4. What kind of drew you to open wheel cars?
Yeah, I always liked the parameters of it. Obviously, IndyCar is super cool. I like how they do ovals and road courses, and street courses, so you get a little bit of everything. But I'm not against sports cars at all, but I like the image of it, and also I feel like the racing's super intense, and everybody's kind of going for it, and you don't have to rely on other people almost. It's kind of just you and yourself in the car, so I like that part of it.
For sure. So this is kind of interesting. Siblings usually race together in other series, but not too often you see them racing in two different disciplines. What is that like for both of you? Go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, I'll start. It's really interesting because we kind of can feed off each other, and we drive completely different things, but we also drive completely different ways. So trying to learn from each other is very interesting. We're getting used to it. We're not always the best at it, especially if we're in the same car. We usually butt heads pretty easily because we're extremely competitive. So that's kind of why we did different routes, and it just happened that I liked open wheel and Zach liked sports cars. But yeah, going back to your question, it's just nice because we can almost learn from each other. And Zach's super consistent and can hit his marks on the money every time, where I'm a bit more feel in the car. So I go off of what I feel more than systematically correct. So if we could learn from each other to incorporate both ways, it would be one hell of a race car driver. Sorry for cussing too.
Yeah, Noah hit it right on the head. I mean, he's more the send it, go for the lead type of guy. I'm the guy that's just hit my marks and let the other guy make the mistake. It's like he said, we're completely two different people, but we kind of end up at the same place at the end of the day. So I'm, like he said, the guy that's going to go out there, hit the marks, progress continuously, and get faster each time. He's the type of guy that's just first session, he's the fastest because he knows what the car does. He knows what it's capable of, and he just goes out there and does it. He's like that, and I'm like me. It's two different ways, but it's kind of crazy how we both get to the same page.
For sure. Let's see. So Noah, you're 20, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
And Zach, you're 17?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Wow. So not that big of an age gap, but what's that like? Because you two can relate to each other. Like, you know, maybe you had a good race, one didn't. Maybe you both had a bad race. Do you guys talk to each other a lot about how you guys are doing?
Yeah, it's typically a daily thing. You know, whenever Noah's going to a race weekend, I can't go because of school and stuff. I'm watching every session. I'm watching every live stream to try and figure out who's doing what he's doing, and it helps me too because I'm able to see what they're doing and how I can progress. But I'm also watching Noah very closely and to make sure that he's getting the most out of the car, whether that's line, you know, turning in later, turning in at a different point, braking earlier, getting the throttle earlier. It's kind of neat how we both come together as one and try and get the most out of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, to touch on Zach, you know, in WRL they have in-car cockpit like live streams, so that really shows the men from the boys. And then Zach, he might hate me more than he loves me when he's on a race weekend because I'm almost trying to coach him, trying to get him faster, which ends up him getting mad at me. But it's all good. But I'm watching pretty much every session, every time he's in the car during the races. And that's if I'm not there, obviously. And whoever's on the radio, I'll be texting them to tell them what to do. And I don't think it gets told back to Zach because he gets a bit angry. But no, it's cool too because we both can get on the sim and run the same sessions and all that. And that's what's fun about it is you can race each other pretty much, and there's no consequence for wrecking, right? You know, when you get two brothers who are hyper competitive at this stuff, usually stuff happens, especially in real world. So in the sim world, it's nice that there's no consequence and we don't have to get dad involved if we hit each other.
Like how Zach kept a straight face throughout.
I tried to.
Good stuff. You know, going in there, you mentioned dad. We're obviously, you know, and obviously mom too, but overall, what has that been like? Because there's obviously weekends where you're both racing. What happens then?
Yeah, it definitely gets a bit tricky with travel and all that. Usually since I'm a bit older, I'll travel by myself and be with the team pretty much and stay with the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely difficult, and the stress level as a parent is so high as a racing parent. You know, on the weekends and stuff, you're always worried about how your kid's gonna do, if he's gonna be safe and all that. So when you're in two different places on the same weekend, it definitely makes that stress level go through the roof.
For sure.
Yeah, you know, our dad, he's probably one of the best out there. He's a very supportive father, and we thank him for that. But sometimes it's like Noah said, it's very stressful, you know, when we have more than one kid. But I imagine having two, like me and Noah, when we're both trying to make a career out of it, how hard it gets on him. You know, it's not easy for him, but he makes it seem easy. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I want to touch on is next year we are trying to do, even though we are in sports cars and all that, looking to run kind of similar schedules, almost like in the same series.
Yeah.
So I know I'm looking at doing Formula Regional America, and there's talks, and I'm sure Zach will talk about this more, but Zach potentially doing Trans Am 2, which runs alongside that SCCA Vintage and
Absolutely.
SBRA Vintage series. So that's what we're kind of looking that way. We aren't in two different places on the same weekend where we can kind of keep it central, you know.
For sure. Let's talk. I mean, you know, honestly enough, I mean, the Deerlanders are two kids from New York. These two are obviously two kids from Georgia. What has that been? You know, you're still in high school, if I'm not mistaken, Zach.
Yep.
What's that been like, just to kind of, go at it? Still going to school.
Yeah, I can't thank my teachers enough for allowing me to not be there some days to go race. They're kind of the best. So, but yeah, you get behind some days, but that's what you got to do. If you're trying to make a career,
Absolutely.
you got to go do what you got to do. And then when you get back, it's back to the classroom and getting back to the work and making sure that you're caught up with everything that you've done when you were gone.
Yeah. So, obviously, I take it that you still go to actual school, not online.
Yes, sir. I go to North Gwinnett High School.
Nice. Okay, so I always ask siblings this: if you guys, have you guys ever raced together?
Yeah, not in the same car. So in Radical Cup, there's 3 different classes. So there's the Platinum series Platinum class, which is an SR8 and SR10 Radical, which the new SR10 I think has the Ford Raptor EcoBoost in it. So that thing moves for sure. It's a fast car. And then there's the SR3 1500, which is a 1500cc Radical, and then there's a 1340 of the same chassis, just different cc motor. So I raced the 1500cc and Zach raced the 1340. So we were on track at the same point, but we didn't want to be in the same car pretty much because we're the same speed, and 2 brothers going at it that are the same speed can't end well. It is our theory pretty much. So we tried to run in different classes.
Yeah. And also it looks like, the challenges of, kind of racing and stuff. Obviously it takes a lot of sponsorship. It takes a lot of things and all that. But there's 2 of you. Obviously, where do you both want to end up? I'll start with you, Zach.
Yeah, I'd love to be, a paid factory driver for some big name team, like Porsche or McLaren and all that. But any day in a race car is a good day. But yeah, main goal is to be a factory driver.
What about you, Noah?
Yeah, I'd love to run an IndyCar. That's kind of the dream. Obviously, the goal of any racing driver who's trying to pursue a career is, of course, make a career in racing, right? So the dream is IndyCar, and that would be just outstanding. But at the end of the day, we need to be paid. So to be a paid driver in any series anywhere is always fun. So, but definitely IndyCar is where we're going. And then from there, we'll kind of figure out our options if we don't make it to IndyCar.
All right. Well, I think that's all I got for you both. Obviously, before we go, where is your next race for both of you?
Yeah, Zach, go ahead.
Sebring, if we do Sebring, with the Round 3 racing team in WRL, the World Racing League. So if not, I'm not really sure. Maybe just some little grassroots racing stuff and like a spec racer Ford maybe in Daytona and all that. But other than that, I'm not really sure. All
right. And for you, Noah?
Yeah, I'm at Virginia International Raceway, October 6th through the 9th. Going to be interesting. I know our cars are pretty good there. The VRD cars are good at VIR, and our USF Junior program swept the weekend the last time they were there. So I'm looking forward to racing there and hopefully coming out with some wins and getting back in this points championship.
All right. Well, Noah and Zach, thank you so much for coming on, and we're definitely going to be seeing the Pings at some point in the next few months. So we'll have you both on again to kind of wrap up the season. How about that?
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having me too.